All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're doing here, storing things on disk. So we're doing it in a couple different ways. I don't know what the best way is yet, but we are convinced that storing things in disk is the way to go. So if we look at this loop list generator we just made and click reveal, it's going to open up what is actually this is inside this folder. There's loop list, and that's what we're looking at here. So this is how the data is stored on the disk and in a folder, and you can see it's a JSON file, which is storing all the data associated with the prompts and the description and all that stuff. And then the index XML is the actual XML that we've saved also, and just stored here on the disk. So we think there's a number of reasons to store it on disk. People can generate the same format with other tools. They could create generators using other tools. We can check these into Git. You can share these folders. You can share folders full of these generators. We just think it's a great way to save all that. In the case of the generators, we are storing those in, if we go to the loop list, the generators list page, you'll see we have our generators here. Now we can actually make another one. So let's actually go to the desktop. So you can have different folders for different projects, let's say, where you can store clips or from different styles, what have you. And that's now your generators folder. And so as you come back here and store new generators, that's where they'll be stored in this projects folder here. So that's storing them on disk. So in the way we do that here is that you have to edit everything, and as you edit, it actually saves the stuff back to the generator folder that you've specified at that time. So that's why we have this save and cancel option here. Now in the case of requests, there's also a good reason why you might want to store these requests and save them. Like let's say that you've worked on an API, you've got it all set up the way you want. You can export that, and you can decide. The nice thing is you can decide whether or not you want to include authentication or not within the file that you create. So that if you're sharing this publicly, you would remove authentication. So we'll just click that, and we'll store it here on the desktop just to see it. So again, we get a JSON file, which I can now share. And it doesn't matter how complex a request I've set up here, this file will contain all of that. And in fact, I can, if I delete this and come back and import that request.json, I'll get that back. So there it is. So anyway, that's what storing things on disk is all about. The other thing is with JSON API Explorers is you can actually export an entire found set and import a folder full of requests, so of these request files. So that means that you could set up all the requests for an API that you want, and then you could create a folder full of them, and you could send it to people. And if they have generator, they can immediately restore those requests and start messing around with them and playing with them, and then again generating code for their particular solutions. So that is storing data on disk. We don't have field maps stored on disk yet. We might do that at some point, but so far they feel a little transient and not something you'd want to keep around, but maybe that'll change. So we'll see. But anyway, I think that's all to say about storing things on disk.